Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Elbows Tight Podcast. It's your host, Travis and John. John, how was that?
It was great, man. It was nice talking to Jordan again. You know, he's always interesting to talk to. He's always got some good advice. I like listening to him.
Yeah, today we have Jordan Preisinger from Jordan Teaches Jiu-Jitsu on for the second time, almost exactly 1 year apart from the first time he was on the show. But this is the third attempt the second attempt at getting him on a second time. The last time we did it, there was a whole bunch of, his internet wouldn't, let him record, or it was weird. So, but this was a phenomenal conversation. We talk about goal setting today, if you can't tell by the title. Today's all about setting goals and how to achieve goals and put things into place to help you do that. And the conversation is great. Like I mentioned, we mentioned this, Jordan, after we got done recording, is the thing that I like the most about what Jordan has to say is it's not typically what you're going to hear when it comes to people talking about goal setting, because Jordan's very open about how he has a hard time setting goals and he has a hard time putting micro goals into place. He mentions, micro, macro goals like we do, but he's very open and forthcoming about how it's hard for him to do it,
Yeah, I thought it was a great conversation. And I think people that are going to listen to this, I think a goal might be, what we consider a goal is going to be different for everyone, maybe on how they interpret it, and I think it's just they'll get a lot out of this.
Yeah, it's good. I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy it. Let us know what you do to set goals or how you accomplish them and whatnot, and what was your biggest takeaway. DM us on Instagram, put it down in the comments below on YouTube. Let us know how you guys achieve this stuff. Once again, this is a great conversation, and thank you, Jordan, so much for coming on again. We poked fun at what John and I said about our number one, about the first 30 minutes of his. I said 15 minutes, John said 30 minutes.
I'm a slow thinker.
But how it was completely different this time, like fluid the entire way through. We know who Jordan is. We're close friends now and whatnot. So it's the camaraderie and the what's the word I'm looking for? The chemistry between us three is a lot better now. So that's what happens when you become friends with people and you talk to them multiple times. So,
it's true.
Let us know what you guys think down in the comments below. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy it. Peace.
3, 2, 1. Happy New Year from our friends over at Manscaped. The ball has officially dropped, but that doesn't mean you have to drop the ball on your balls in 2023. Whether you had a New Year's kiss or not, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming have you covered for your much-needed resolution of bringing sexy back. Join the 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. Go to manscaped.com and use the code ETP20 for 20% off plus free shipping. Let us have a toast for a new year, new you, and a new you without the pubes.
A grooming routine isn't complete without applying the Crop Preserver and Crop Reviver before showing up yourself in 2023. These unique formulations take care of the smelliest parts of your body and are the biggest boost to your confidence in the new year. Been using Manscaped Crop Preserver and ball deodorant for the last year. Just about every class I go to Jiu-Jitsu. It's phenomenal. Absolutely love it. Couldn't recommend it enough.
If you really want to make 2023 the year to remember, make sure you try out Manscaped's wet goods as well. This includes their ultra premium body wash, 2-in-1 shampoo, and body deodorant. I love that stuff. I can't get enough of it. I really like the body wash. I love the shampoo. It smells great. And
cheers to new balls in 2023. Get 20% off and free shipping with code ETP20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com using code ETP20. Time to feel sexy and free in 2023 with Manscaped. Jordan Preisinger, our number one episode of 2022, and now you're the number one episode of 2023. Oh, I'm saying like you're the first episode of 2022.
I'll be number one for a little bit, so I'll be happy with that. Well, I kept my streak going the whole year last year. So yeah, I'm doing pretty good, Yeah, so I got to keep that streak going again because, now the pressure's on because I was the number one podcast episode for you guys last year, and then I feel like I got to surpass that this year and be number one again, if not, and even more views this time. So I'm going to try my best, but yeah, it's out of my control.
Yeah,
well, I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, people loved our conversation, and even on YouTube, it's our by far our number one views on YouTube for a podcast episode. And so I was thinking, I was like, man, we got to get Jordan back on. Like, we had such a great conversation, and like I mentioned before, we started like actually talking. We became really good friends afterwards. So now I feel like the chemistry and the camaraderie of having you back on the show again would be like, one of my best friends in real life actually talking with them. So man, I'm super excited to have this conversation today.
Yeah, I'm super excited too, because normally we just talk through like Instagram, so it's nice to actually talk to you in real life. Well, somewhat real life again. So yeah, and I mean this time too, like the last time I did the podcast, it was only my second podcast ever, and I was super nervous. But I'm super nervous this time too. Like I'm always nervous, so I'm just hoping I don't say anything too dumb within the first half hour or so.
Like you hide it well, man. You seem really chill. You hide it well.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I think I think when I'm competing too, I think I hide it well. People don't realize how like actually nervous I am, but I think in general people don't realize how nervous of a person I am. I'm just like always nervous, and it makes like doing stuff like this difficult. But you just got to do it anyways, right? That's what bravery is: being scared to do something and doing it anyways. So
that's right.
So I'm trying my best. So yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. Today's topic that I want to discuss, and we've all kind of talked about it once again beforehand, is goal setting. Recently, you achieved the goal of getting your 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. You got your first degree promotion on your black belt. Father, YouTuber, entrepreneur, successful in pretty much every endeavor that you do. And I would love to pick your brain today on how you set goals and what you do to accomplish them. That way people at home, because we often talk about goal setting in our podcast, right, John? And so it would be great to hear from someone that is obviously more successful than us in almost every endeavor that they put themselves in, and how you approach goal setting. So that's kind of what I want to cover today. So in order to get straight into it, let's just kind of go in your jiu-jitsu journey on when did you first actually start implementing goals into making your journey go where you want it to.
Yeah, so I would say like day one, I had the goal of just being the best and never being beaten. That's just like my mentality. And I think that's an important mentality if you want to be a competitor and take it jiu-jitsu very seriously in that way. If you're like recreational, I think that's too much of a grand kind of goal to have, is just to never be tapped and just to smash everyone. But, that was my goal. And whether you attain it or not, it's like at least you're going to get to a high level trying to get there. So I think that's different goals for different people. So definitely a competitor, they should, try to be the absolute best and not make excuses for themselves. Like, I think sometimes people, they kind of have like self-doubt and don't have great confidence for whatever reason, but you need to, you need to give yourself proof so you have a reason to be confident. So you need to actually put in the work to get good at jiu-jitsu, which will have like a snowball effect. Okay, now I'm good at jiu-jitsu, or somewhat good, and I'm doing better and better, and as you go along and building up new goals as you go. So I think it's good to have like a macro goal, which is like, very simple to get good at jiu-jitsu, and then you have to have micro goals too. So it's like certain positions, every position really you want to have some attacks from. And then, it depends where you are in your jiu-jitsu journey. Like if you're a beginner, like a good goal, just like, for example, would be like learn how to pass half guard, but not just like, not just learn how to pass, but truly understand it. So like, for example, you need to get your knee out first and then you get your ankle out after. And it's a two-step process that way. When you break it down that way, it's so much easier to do. And, the grips you need to actually do it are the cross face and the underhook. And then if you get those grips first, those are like, you need to like be able to break down these kind of positions and have goals to become proficient in them. I think it's really important. And, that's like my mentality when it comes to like, jiu-jitsu technique, I guess, is like have a macro goal and have like micro goals. But then like, with everything in life, it's like, you need to have a goal for like what's going to happen. Well, at least I think everything in life, it's like you need to have like a plan and a goal for what you want to happen, but you also need to like understand what's going to happen if you don't implement these things. So like if it's like, if I don't put in the effort to be here, to get where I want to be, where am I going to be? And in most cases for people, it's going to be mediocre at jiu-jitsu or quit jiu-jitsu entirely. So, I think it's important to understand where you're going to be if you put in the work and where you're going to be if you don't put in the work. So, like, for you guys, like, what are your guys' goals, like, going into 2023 when it comes to because I'm curious when it comes to your jiu-jitsu and when it comes to your podcast.
So for my jiu-jitsu, as we talked about it kind of like on our last episode too, is I kind of, I want to get better at inverting. I'm a little bit of a bigger guy, so I feel like if I were to, I've seen other bigger guys like me learn to invert and use it for like guard retention and stuff like that. Like my guard retention is dog wash. It's like horrible, absolutely horrible, right? And so I would like to learn how to invert and implement that into my game and be more proficient at it. And I know, once again, that's like a macro goal. It's like, well, how do I do that? Well, I know personally, I still can't get my toes to comfortably touch the ground when I'm like on my shoulders. You know what I mean? Like I'm inverted. So that's a first micro goal, is working on that flexibility and that mobility to be able to sit there comfortably, to where if I do get stacked or I do invert and there's a little bit of pressure, I'm not freaking out like, oh my God, this is so uncomfortable. So that's like my macro goal, is implementing inversion more into my game for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I think that's smart, because, that's the goal to have, is to get better at inverting. And then you got to think on the flip side, what's going to happen if you don't get better at inverting? I mean, your jiu-jitsu is not going to progress as much. Your guard retention will, not get it as good. And also, like, I don't know if you're doing anything for mobility, but if you don't do anything for mobility, then you start to have like problems with your body, like your neck starts to hurt and your back, those sorts of issues. So yeah, I think it's really important to not neglect, that aspect of it, because it has so many benefits and so many negatives not to do. So what about you, John? What are your goals?
Well, mine's not near as thorough as Travis's. I feel like with that year pretty much off the mats, the biggest thing I want to get is just, I want to be steady. I want it to become routine again. I want to fall into it where it was just 2 to 3 times a week without thinking about it. Right now, I feel like that's the hardest part for me, is just getting it back into a routine. It just started getting back into a routine.
Yeah.
And then, we have a blizzard here. So they cancel it for pretty much a week and a half. So it's just like, it's just hard to keep that routine. And I know if I can keep the routine, my jiu-jitsu will get better, because then I'm putting in the time on the mat and I'm not away from it. So my biggest thing is I just want to hit it 2 to 3 times a week. That's an easy goal for me. I'll know if I'm going to pass or fail every week. So, I mean, that's really what I'm looking at.
Yeah, and I mean, what happens if you don't pursue that goal? I mean, you likely might fall off from jiu-jitsu if you don't stay consistent, right? So that's why that goal is so important, and to understand, again, which is like the consequence of not following that goal. And I think that's a great goal, because I have a very similar goal. Just because, I haven't been as like consistent and motivated as much as I should be lately. I'm sure you guys see my stuff on Instagram. Yeah, it's like half the time I'm like just like complaining about how whatever, my mental state or whatever. And other times I'm like super happy, like, oh, I'm gonna like crush everything. It's like, so it's just like ups and downs, but just the way I am. But I have that same kind of goal. It's like I just want to get to a place where, like, I'm lifting twice a week, I'm doing cardio twice a week, every training session I'm going to, I'm really enjoying, and want to be there the whole time, not like forcing myself to go through the motions, which is just like, just the reality of doing something for 10 years. It's like, I'm still passionate about jiu-jitsu, but there's other factors in life that can sometimes impact that. So I think it's important people understand you can go through lulls and stuff like that, like ups and downs, but you got to keep going, just keep going anyways. Like, you just kind of not stop. That's what's important, because I'm not like thinking about stopping or anything, but it's like, I want to get that motivation and that hunger and that desire that I've had for like so long. I want to get that back. It's hard when you have so many things going on in your life. I'm sure you guys know, you guys have kids and, jobs and everything like that. So it's, it can be tough to, stay committed to something as demanding as jiu-jitsu, for sure. And what about the podcast? Like, do you guys just have like a general goal of just like grow it, or do you have like, specific type of goals where you want to be at the end of 2023?
John, what do we have goals for a podcast?
I think for one, Travis would like a full-time editor.
Yeah.
That would be nice. I mean, Travis does the majority of the work for this podcast. I think it would be nice for him to, have that full-time editor.
That'd be super nice.
Take some pressure off. Like I said, we both got kids. I get it. And Travis's kids are way younger than mine, so I know that's a handful.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, having an editor really helps.
Yeah, man. Ben, shout out to Ben. He edits for both of us. Actually, a couple YouTube channels now. And he started editing like YouTube videos for me outside of the podcast, just like YouTube clips that are like a little bit more YouTube friendly with like B-roll and stuff like that. And our collaboration has been great. Like, I'm super happy that I've hired him to come do this, and it does push more content out for people, and it's great. And I would love to be able to hire him full time. And I know what I need to do that, because I can't pay out of pocket to have him. My wife would kill me. You know what I mean? Like, I can't afford to do that. So I would need to double my revenue, maybe 2.5x our revenue for the podcast to be able to hire him full time. And then, so that means that we would have to push more for sponsorships and stuff like that. And then also, I would love to double the downloads by the end of the year and what we're getting now, which I totally think is plausible, because we'll be doing weekly episodes every month now, because that was a big thing, is we were only doing bi-weekly episodes. So now for for this whole year, one goal is to release one every week and pick up more sponsors in order to increase revenue. First thing is to hire an editor, to where I could just start outsourcing. Like we just talked about the other day. What was the saying that you heard that you?
Are you talking about the poor, middle class, and rich? Yeah. I mean, so this just hit me. They were talking about the mindset for like they said, they call it a poor class, and that's someone that's just trying to have the money to buy the things they need, like day to day. And then they were talking about middle class, and they were like, that's people that they want to have really good credit so they can afford to finance the things that they can't afford to buy. And then they were talking about the rich class, and what they do is they try to, when they get that money, they think about how they can use that money to make more money. Right. Exactly. And I was thinking, man, like for some reason when he was talking about it, I was like, that was a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
So like right now, any of the money that we get for the podcast is just going right back into the podcast. Yep. It's not like we're doing anything with it other than it's just going right back into the podcast.
I mean, that's the way to do it. That's the way I've always done too with the channel. It's always just reinvesting money back into it. Like the podcast for me, my Talk Jiu-Jitsu podcast, that cost me money every single episode because I have Ben edit it because I don't have time to do it. And it's really like, it sucks like paying like a couple $100 every single episode and not making any money from it. So yeah, it's definitely a frustration, but I think that's the right mentality, is to like, just understands kind of like investment now, and, to always put money back into the business. And, it's really cool too to see like Ben editing for other YouTubers. Like he's doing like Tyler Spangler and Kieran too. He's doing some stuff for Kieran. And I just think it's great for the community to like benefit so much from someone like Ben that has such great editing and animations. So I forgot where I was going with this, but yeah, sorry.
So what are your goals for 2023 for your business, your YouTube channel, your podcast, all that stuff? What are your goals?
Yeah, I guess my goals are just to grow, because like, when a couple of years ago, I told my accountant that I'm going to be a millionaire, and retire by the time I'm 35. So I only have 3 years left to do that, because my accountant, she laughed at me. She thought that was impossible. And I'm like, I'm going to do it. Like, believe me. And so, but I'm not even close to there yet. So I got 3 years to make up the time. So, I've kind of thought of like my 20s as like learning the skills I need to make money. And then my 30s is when I'm going to actually make the money. So every year, I guess even now, like 2023 might be another like growing and learning year. I'm not sure, or it might be like more execution where I am making more money from it. But whether it is or not, 2024, 2025, all the work I'm putting in now is going to pay off more and more then. So yeah, like sometimes I get too like grandiose in my thinking and my talking at times too. Like I was on the BJJ Mental Models podcast, and afterwards I messaged him. I was like, can you take out like a lot of the stuff I said in the beginning? It's like I got a little too crazy talking about wanting to be a millionaire and stuff like that. And so, but that's what I want, because that's a really important goal for me, because like I don't have a pension and I don't have anything like that lined up because I'm an entrepreneur, right? So I need to, it's like do or die. It's either I make wealth now in my 30s, or I have nowhere to retire and live when I'm older, right? So this is like super crucial. And because again, like this is what I do to make money, is like teach jiu-jitsu. So, I really treat the YouTube channel as a business, and I'm always reinvesting money back into it. But I would say there's no specific goals. It's more like I just got, well, other than being a millionaire, but like that's going to take time. And, I think I'm going to need to transition from the YouTube channel to something else to actually get that large amount of money. But, that's something I got to keep working on and figuring out, just because jiu-jitsu is like a smaller niche, where like MMA, for example, which I'm also passionate about, it gets like 10 times the amount of views on YouTube. So it's like something I think about, like, can I make more money doing that, which I'm also passionate about, and or just stick with jiu-jitsu, which I'm, again, passionate about too. So, for me, I'm just having a hard time figuring out like what specifically my goals are, just because there's so many different directions I could go. And then it comes to like, because there's so many things I want to do too, like I would like to like make like a documentary, I'd like to start playing music more and kind of like exploring that path of like creating stuff that way. So yeah, for me, I have a hard time figuring out exactly what I want to do, but I just want to keep growing the YouTube channel. I want to be number one on YouTube, and I want everyone else to want that goal too. And we all compete against each other in a friendly way to get better, because I kind of view like YouTube channels and all this stuff similar to like a gym, where it's like, you're competing against each other in one sense, but you're also helping each other and growing together. Like, I think if there's zero competition within the gym, it's like, it can be a little hard to grow. Like, you want to like, do a little better each time against whoever it is, and you want to grow that way, but you also want them to get better too. So I kind of view it the same way. I want everyone on YouTube, to every channel, to do well, share tips with them. We all share tips with each other, but we're all trying to beat each other and become number one. And but again, sharing that information and growing together. So yeah, I just got to keep working to get there, but that's my goal. Everything I do, I want to be number one. I want to be the best. So I got to keep working to get there. But that's what I'm doing. I've been a lot more motivated lately. And actually, like, I think just in general, my channel, as like, I'm really learning now to make good videos. And it just took me like a year and a half. But like now you'll see like everything get a lot better. Like the production value, the delivery, the pacing, everything is just getting better and better and better. So yeah, I just got to stay on that track, keep improving every single area. And because that's my mentality too. It's like, I need to be the best in every single area within like what people consider important for like a YouTube channel, right? So always trying to improve, always very self-critical, and looking forward to always reaching the next steps.
So what do you do to implement or track your progression in growing? You know what I mean? Like,
you're talking like, does he write it down? Do you journal? You got a spreadsheet you built?
How do you track it? What is it? Quantitative factors behind how you're growing or not?
Yeah, I wish I was like one of those people that was more organized and like, did stuff like that. I have a journal. I've written in it twice this year, which I meant to do like every single day of the year. But
2023 goal. Twice.
Yeah, exactly. I'll start writing in it, maybe 3 times a year in 2023. I'll up it a little bit at least. But no, like, I've never really been one to like write down my goals, just because like my macro goals are so like clear, where it's like, I just want to do well in life and just, just always keep working towards the next step. But like, that's my macro goal. But again, it's like, I have a hard time figuring out my micro goals. But I think for people, listening that want to improve like their goal setting and stuff like that is to definitely like figure out what their goal is. That's the hardest part. It's hard to figure out what direction you want to go in life or jiu-jitsu, what you want to do. But yeah, writing it down can definitely help. But for someone like me, I'm like super unorganized, super, I wing everything. And I kind of just wing my goals and wing life, just because like, for me at least, I just think it's just like the journey, I guess, is just like fun to try to figure it all out. Yeah. And I don't know. I have a hard time like with organization for sure.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean that you can't achieve like your goals. Like you mentioned, you just have to know what works for you. For some people, it's not writing them down or journaling or something like that. But the biggest part, and I think where people can gain from what you just said, is the introspective look at how you can achieve your goals, not going by what everyone else says you have to do in order to do it. Like, some people need to journal. Some people need to know exactly a step-by-step process. My wife, she needs to know the who, what, when, where, why, and how in every situation in order for her to achieve it. And that's okay. I'm not that way. I'm more like you. I know what my macro goal is, and finding my micro goal is a little bit difficult for me sometimes, but I know when I can see something that will affect me moving in the direction for my macro goal. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like off in the woods like, oh man, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, this doesn't look like this is going to help me. No, I can recognize pretty quickly, like, hey, this isn't conducive to what I want to accomplish. So I'm going to go ahead and just stop doing that. You know what I mean? So understanding what works for you is probably the biggest thing.
So maybe, you know, since we're talking about goals, know what will derail you from your goal. Yeah. So for me, like I want to make it to the classes, right? I know that if I eat a bunch of crap food, then I'm going to feel like crap and I'm really not going to want to go, right? So some of those things, like just knowing what will cause you to fail or what will derail you. Like if you want to grow the podcast, you know, have like-minded friends that are into the same thing, hang out with the same crowd, be with people that'll elevate you. If you're working on diet, you probably don't want to hang out with the people that want to hit up Mickey D's every day and pizza, you know what I mean? Ice cream. Try to hang out in those circles that'll help you achieve the goal too.
So how do you look at your goals when you take the similar path of you have the like-minded people around you, you tell people what your goals are, or how do you build a environment in order to achieve these?
Yeah, you know, one thing I do, which I probably shouldn't do and most people don't do, but I always like announce like grandiose goals. So I'll be like, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And then it's like, oh shit, now I got to actually do that, you know, because I said I'm going to do it. So I think that's actually one thing helps. But everyone's so different. Sometimes people, they have a hard time, you know, it's good for them not to tell people goals because then they feel like, you know, they'll let them down if they don't reach them. But, you know, everyone's motivated so differently. So I'm kind of motivated by it's like, oh shit, I don't want to look like a fool, you know, so I got to like do these things I said I'm going to do, which is why I try to be more careful now of what I say I'm going to do because, you know, I get sometimes really grandiose thinking, like I said earlier, and then I start saying, I'm going to do this, this, and this. It's like, oh shit, again, like now I got to do that. But I think one thing that's important too, like if you can't figure out your micro goals and the specific things you want to work towards, it's just like, just try to grow and improve your, in every area you can while you're waiting to figure out your goals. So I kind of saw this from, like a Jonah Hill. He's got this like cool, like documentary on Netflix like, with this psychiatrist or whatever. And he was saying something very similar. If you don't know your direction or, you know, how to get out of like the funk you're in, well, instead just work on improving your relationships and, you know, and like in your business or whatever, like every aspect that you can just try to improve everything. So, you know, that's what I'm trying to do right now. It's like, I don't really know fully well, again, what my micro goals are. So it's like, okay, that's okay. I'll just, keep improving, you know, I'll keep making good YouTube videos. And I'll keep making shorts and verticals and stuff like that for Instagram. And then as I kind of, you know, as I'm doing everything, it'll be more clear what my goal is, more opportunities will kind of open up. And that's one thing that's important too, is like, you know, just to do things just for the opportunities that kind of come with them. So like, you know, anytime you do something, for the most part, you meet new people or you create new connections with people that you might not have had otherwise. You network and, you know, you just like, you can use all that. So you can use your experiences and all this stuff just to do more. So yeah, I think if someone's not sure what their goals are, just like do things anyways. Just, you know, don't do nothing, which sometimes I run into too. It's like I just like crash where I'm just like working so hard for a while. It's like, okay, I just crash and I don't do anything for a while. So that's something I'm getting better at not doing that. And just, again, just like staying focused. Okay, don't know what my focus is, but at least I'll stay focused on, you know, just creating and doing good things. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do my YouTube channel right now. It's just like put out like good information, because I think for a while too, like I was really focusing too much on like what's going to do well for views and stuff like that. And I kind of got away from what my original purpose was, which was just teach people jiu-jitsu to make it so much easier for them to learn. So I'm kind of going away from like even caring about views and just thinking, as long as I have the best, most informational videos, the rest will kind of work out. It'll just figure out itself. So yeah, that's my recommendation for anyone that is struggling with figuring out their goal, is just to grow and do well in any area that they can kind of figure out, for sure.
Do you feel that people get like blue belt blues, or they quit in their white belt days because they have, kind of like you mentioned, too grandiose. I can't say it right. I try to be smart, but I sound stupid now. But the too big of goals that they want to accomplish, in that they can't put things into place to accomplish those, so they get demotivated and then they quit in their jiu-jitsu journey before they ever really get started. Do you ever feel like that could be a factor as well?
I mean, that happens, but I think there's so many factors that go into blue belts quitting. So maybe John can give us a better. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
No, I'm saying you're absolutely spot on.
No, I mean, bust your ball.
No, I mean it's true. Like there's tons of factors. You got to figure. I started at 39. I'm 45, right? I'm not getting more athletic. I'm not getting younger, right? So everything gets harder for me as each year goes by. That's one thing. Most of the people we train with, they're in their 20s. Like they're getting better, not only in jiu-jitsu, but they're in their prime, right? So it's not like I'm ever going to catch up to that. If anything, I'm always getting behind at that. But really, part of that blue belt blues was me just coming to the realization my jiu-jitsu is going to be different. I just need to have fun, and really getting back to enjoying it and having fun is what's making me want to go back. I was feeling just more pressure previously, right? I'm like, oh my God, I got a blue belt, I got to do better. But then I'm like, fuck that. I'm getting older. I just need to not break, no more surgeries, and enjoy jiu-jitsu. That's all.
Well, I think that's an important mentality change. And I think it's so true. It's like, with jiu-jitsu, one of the biggest cons of it is that, physicality matters so much. And just reality, once you get into your later 30s, early 40s, your physicality is not, what it once was. It's just reality. And it can be such a tough thing because, technique should conquer all, but it doesn't. And physical limitations do matter 100%. And just like, someone that's a little older, maybe like in their 40s, it just, it's going to be very difficult for them to beat someone in their 20s that has equal amounts of training unless, unless they're like on like TRT or something like that. That can definitely help. But that's just one of the problems with jiu-jitsu. And I don't know if it's like so much blue belts quit because like they don't meet their graduates goals. It's a lot of it's just like I think the main problem is also the problem with the belt system. It's like the belt system is not a great representation of skill. It's great for keeping people motivated, but it's also bad for keeping people motivated because once you get a blue belt, purple belt seems so far away, and then you're still getting beat up by white belts and blue belts that are more experienced. So it's like you start questioning your own ability, where it's like you didn't really need to have that. When you were just a white belt, you were just kind of growing still. So I think blue belt definitely is the hardest belt that way. And I'm not a huge fan of the belt system because it doesn't 100% make sense to me because I've rolled with many blue belts that are way better than some of the black belts I've rolled with. I've rolled with some really bad black belts, but I've rolled with some average black belts that are, that good blue belts can beat up no problem. And anyone that has been a good blue belt knows the truth that a good blue belt taps average black belts. That's the truth. So like a world champion blue belt is going to kick the ass out of an average black belt. So not a lot of people really understand that. So, but that's the truth. And because of that, it's like, what's the point of the belts in that situation? And it gets even worse, the purple belt, brown. So, I think it's only for keeping people motivated, which is great because I was very excited about every single belt I got, and that really helped me stay motivated. So I understand that. But I also talked to so many people too. It's like, I feel like an imposter. I have my brown belt, my purple, my blue, whatever it is. It's like, and I've got such a target on my back that these lower belts are trying to beat me up. And it's not necessarily what they want. Most people just want to come and train, have fun, not necessarily have to defend their belt and the color of the belt every single time because some white belt, wants to feel better about themselves. So yeah, it's like, I don't love the belt system for that reason. And I wonder if more people would stick with jiu-jitsu or quit jiu-jitsu without the belt system, because again, it can be a motivator or it can be a demotivator in that sense, where other sports don't really have that. It's like you train Muay Thai, you just train to get better, and everyone knows who the best or who's better, a better striker than who, and it's just the way it is. So I don't think we need it in jiu-jitsu, but I guess that's a whole different kind of topic. But it's always sad seeing blue belts quit, and just in the sense that like, they loved it at one point, which brought them to becoming a blue belt, and then seeing them kind of fall out of love with it as kind of like the honeymoon period kind of goes away, and you realize how much work you need to put in to truly become like proficient in jiu-jitsu, because blue belt is such like a beginner belt. And but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I think having a goal of a belt is good and bad, because I feel or even stripes, because I feel if you focus on that too much, when you start seeing your friends or someone else in their journey progressing faster than you or getting things that you feel that you deserve, then that goal can become very toxic to your journey. You know what I mean? That's no longer a healthy goal, and you should probably reevaluate either the way you're looking at that goal or maybe just completely getting rid of it. You know what I mean? Because like you mentioned, John mentioned, I went through blue belt blues, and it wasn't because I saw other people getting goals or getting stripes and belts that I thought I deserved. It's because I kind of lost why I was training. You know what I mean? It's like I was just showing up just to show up because I knew I needed to. I can't have a podcast about jiu-jitsu and not do jiu-jitsu, right? So that was like the only motivating factor about going to jiu-jitsu.
We used to say that all the time. Yeah. Like, we just weren't enjoying going.
I don't know what it was. I just, John and I just didn't want to train. We just wanted like really nothing to do with it. And I think like John mentioned too, we both had this coming a moment where we're like, why are we stressing so much about going? Like, this is supposed to be fun. Like, we just need to honestly like rethink what each class is. And now my goal for each class is to put myself in a bad position and then work out of it. And if I get tapped, I get tapped. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you have to work on your weaknesses in order to have your strengths really get honed in. You know what I mean? Like, you can't always avoid things that are difficult in your jiu-jitsu journey because you want those short-term gains and those short-term achievements, because in the long term, it's not going to be conducive to you being a better practitioner.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I think what an issue is, which is like the same issue in so many areas of life and whatever, it's like people that are experienced, they kind of understand how it is. And then people that are inexperienced, they kind of don't believe the people that are experienced. It's like, what's the Dunning-Kruger effect, I guess. So I had that exact same scenario. Like, as a lower belt, I thought I knew everything. I cared a lot about getting the belts. I really wanted to get the next belt. If someone else got promoted, I would be kind of jealous and like start thinking, well, why not get promoted? I can beat them up, which is like such the wrong mentality. And
horrible mentality to have.
Yeah, really bad. And your instructors tell you that, and you're just like, well, at least I did. It's ignored it. It's like, no, I know better than you. So like, but as I've gotten more experienced, I've become such a wiser jiu-jitsu practitioner, like wiser and like bitter in some sense, which is like not good either, but it's like bitter in the sense where it's like, okay, I had like my fun, chasing the belts and whatever, but it's like, now I'm going to tell you not to. So it's like, it's just one of those things where it's like, but it's because I know it's not smart to chase belts. You want to chase skill, but at the same time, I think people kind of make a big deal out of like, oh, this person just wants their belt or whatever, this or that. But it's like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. It's like, it does feel good to get a promotion. And it's like, if it was like your job or whatever, you'd want to get promoted and get everything that comes with that. So I don't think it's anything different in jiu-jitsu. I think people should be excited for promotions for sure. But just like, understand it's a skill that you're searching for, but the belt is nice too, for sure.
What was your first goal that you accomplished in life that really kind of motivated you to keep pursuing your journey?
That's a good question.
Support for Elbows Tight is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped recently launched the Ultimate Men's Hygiene Bundle, the Performance Package. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code ETP20 at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that's about 8 million balls.
That's a lot of balls, Johnny. When Manscaped reached out to work with us, I instantly thought, yes, what a deal. I've been using Manscaped products for a while now, And when they mentioned helping out with the podcast, I thought it was a no-brainer. I have the Lawnmower 4.0 now, but I had the Lawnmower 3.0 and absolutely loved it. Also, most people think about Manscaped as just trimmers, but really they have ball deodorant, ball toner, the Weed Whacker, which is your favorite thing, right, John?
Yeah, I love the Weed Whacker. Look, I'm about to hit like 45 years old, so I got hair growing out of everywhere now. So it's coming out my ears. I'm like, man, where is that Weed Whacker? It's definitely my favorite.
Get 20% off and free shipping with the code ETP20 at Manscaped. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code ETP20. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools to get the job done with Manscaped.
I guess like my first like jiu-jitsu kind of goal that I felt very, very good about was like when I was a blue belt, I wanted to win like an OJA tournament. I wanted to win like gold medal for it because I won like some grappling industries. OJA is like Ontario Jiu-Jitsu Association, so they were a little bit bigger or more important than grappling industries at the time. Grappling industries is kind of like grown since then, but still not like super prestigious. But yeah, at blue belt I'd won some like grappling industry gold medals, but like at the OJA tournaments I'd only gotten like silver, and it was like frustrating the shit out of me. I was like, why can't I get gold? And then one tournament I won a gold medal in my division. I was so happy. It's like, oh my God, I can do this. I can be, because if you can be like a top blue belt, you can probably do well at the other belts too. Like if you can win gold medals at blue belt. So I won a gold medal, so that's good and everything. But now I'm doing the absolute division. And everyone was talking about these two guys that were like pretty big, and one got silver at Worlds at blue belts, and one was just like a freak athlete, like former NFL player. And everyone thought that they were going to match up in the absolutes. But when I heard them talking about it, I was thinking, I'm going to spoil the party. I'm going to be in there. But like, I didn't like 100% believe it at that point. I was just like, kind of just being grandiose in my head. I can do it, whatever. But then, and then my first match in the absolute, I had the one guy, and the guy got silver at Worlds at blue belt, and then I beat him, and I was like, holy shit, I can do this. I can beat a world medalist, so I can do the next match too. And then the next match was against a white belt. He's a blue belt, but he's a white belt gold medalist at Worlds. So I was like, this guy's gonna be pretty good. And then I submit him in like a minute and a half. I'm like, holy shit, and I'm in the finals. So, and then I was in the finals against this huge, former football player, and he just like throws me to the ground like right away. But then I take his back right away, and then I choke him. So it happened in like a minute and a half. I get up, and just my arms are up, like, oh my God, I actually did this. I just won. Not only did I win a gold medal in my division, but I also won the absolute division gold medal against world level opponents at the lower belts. But I was a lower belt too, right? So that was like a huge moment for me. I was like, everything I thought I could do, I know I can do now. So I know that, if they can win at the world stage, I can too. And again, if you do well at the lower belts of the worlds, you're probably going to do decent at the higher belts. So I knew that I had a really good career ahead of me, competition wise. But then like kind of my journey kind of just, it kind of went more towards teaching and stuff like that. It's like competition doesn't really interest me nearly as much anymore. I just want to be a good teacher and enjoy my life. But like I said before, like for confidence, you kind of need to give yourself proof. So, you start have little accomplishments, and they kind of build up, and you kind of realize you can do so much more. So yeah, that was a really a good moment in my life that I'll never forget. I'll never forget that feeling for sure.
So how does defeat affect your goals? Because we all know that when you achieve goals and you do good, it obviously motivates you more to keep accomplishing that. But how do you handle defeat when it comes to your goals?
Yeah, I don't handle defeat well at all. So like, no one likes losing, especially in a sport that's so like physical and so one-on-one. It's like very primitive in the sense that like, it's like fighting. It's the closest thing you can get to fighting without actually fighting. So, and I think when it comes to men especially, I think that kind of like has like an effect on the ego. It's like, I don't want anyone to ever beat me in a combat sport whatsoever. It's like, that would definitely hurt my ego. And that's just the truth. I think a lot of people are in the same boat, right? But like, I also acknowledge, because I have lost before 100%. It's like, you just have to almost like feel the pain and just let it consume you and feel awful, and let that motivate you, because you never want to feel that again. So I think that it's best not to be like, oh, it's fine, I just lost, not a big deal. If you want to be one of the best in the world, you shouldn't do that. You should be like, I'm going to do everything I can to never feel this feeling again, because losing sucks. So there's definitely two ways you can approach that. And, that's kind of what I've always done. Like just in the YouTube channel too, anytime I've taken some L's, because I have taken L's here and there of like things I could have done better, or things like, I should have done different, just learn from it. And, one thing too, people should understand, it's like, it's okay to not be good at something and to fail. If you understand that you're going to be better at it. So like, you gotta do those things to get better. So, for example, I was like, commentating, super fights, a while ago, and I didn't do a great job my first time, but my second time I did a much better job. But then the guy asked me, you want to like do an interview, like, after they're done? I'm like, I'm super nervous, I can do a terrible job. And I knew I was going to do a terrible job. I knew it. I knew that I was going to get super nervous and like just like start rambling and not being clear what I'm trying to say. And that's exactly what happened. But I knew that I needed to go through being bad at it before I can be good at it. So now next time when I go to do it, I'm going to be much more comfortable, and it's going to be so much more of an improvement than last time. And that is fine with me. So I think it's kind of funny, like, because, when you are in like the public eye and stuff, you kind of get criticism, and I haven't always dealt with that well, but I am dealing with it a lot better now. But it's like, these people criticizing should understand, it's like, you're like, you might be criticizing where I'm at right now, but it's like, this is just part of the process to get better. So, you don't have to be so freaking negative. And I'm not like, I don't know, I guess like complaining about those type of people more. So I'm just kind of showing it's like, it's just so okay to do poorly, even if people are kind of talk some shit about you. So like, especially like the lower belts, people should really, not take losing too seriously at those. I think you should still have like a high standard for yourself and want to do well, and like, accept having like using a loss to fuel you to get motivated. But at the same time, you got to understand it's all practice until you get to black belt. But the winning your black belt, it's not practice anymore. So if someone beats you at black belt, they're better than you, and you need to accept that, or you need to get better like right now. So at the lower belts though, it's like, just like, don't worry about it, because that loss you're crying about, you're not going to care in like a couple of years from now. It's like no big deal. So people got to get more used to taking L's and be okay with that, and so they can get more W's.
I'm totally comfortable taking my L's. Yeah. I need to get Travis to compete though, so I can go watch. That's what I want.
I don't know, man. Maybe one day.
I need that to be a goal for you in 2023.
I don't know.
What stops you from competing?
To be honest, it's kind of losing. I don't like losing either. So that's a big factor. I don't know. There's kind of like this. I feel like if I were to compete and lose, I would be like exposed as, not a blue belt because I lost, kind of thing. And not only that, but I competed a lot in weightlifting and CrossFit in my 20s. And so now I'm kind of, my early 30s. And I'm like, I stopped competing in CrossFit and weightlifting because I got tired of working out multiple times a day and within a couple hour period. And Jiu-Jitsu tournaments is the same exact thing. It's a couple matches within a couple hours in the same day. So I'm like, and it's, it's just like a CrossFit competition. You're going to go balls to the wall in every match that you can. And just like every workout, you try to finish it as fast as possible, get as many reps or most weight. And so in my mind, I have that correlation to why I stopped competing in CrossFit. And I'm like, it just sounds like the same thing to me. So it doesn't sound attractive to me, but it also is because I'm to be honest, I'm nervous and scared to do it too. Because, like you mentioned, no one wants to lose in a combat sport, Yeah,
exactly. And it's just the way it is. I mean, like, I feel the same way. Like, I competed for so long. I was competing all the time, like white belt, blue belt, purple belt. I was competing basically every month or every other month. And I started competing MMA, and, that's super stressful too, way more stressful than jiu-jitsu, and started competing in Muay Thai too. And then, it's been like 10 years of like competing. And before that, I competed in soccer and, I just like, I don't want to stress, because you only have so much mental energy, right? So and physical energy, right? So you got to pick where you're going to put that energy, and it's got to have the best payoff. So competing, depending on where you are in life or your desires, it can have like zero payoff, but so much, risk, right? Risk of you feeling like shit, because for me, the payoff is just, just relief. I'm never happy I won. I'm just happy it's over. So like, I guess I'm happy I won in the sense that I'm happy I didn't lose, but it's not like yes, I won. It's more like okay, I can breathe now. It's over, and I don't want to do that for a long time. So, it's you compete. I don't get why there's this like pressure for people to like compete all the time. It's like, people, they kind of pressure me into it too. It's like, go prove yourself. You think you're good, go prove it. But just watch my YouTube videos. Like, isn't that enough? Anyone with a technical eye can tell I'm decent enough to teach jiu-jitsu, and just leave me alone. And like, I'll compete if I want, but I won't do it for someone else, which is important to me too. It almost like, sometimes when people like, they almost want to guilt trip me into it. It's like, I want to do it less. It's like, I want to like, make this person like even more frustrated, because I'm not competing or whatever. So I just want to focus all my time to things I enjoy, and I don't enjoy competing. So, I don't want to spend like more than that. So what I'm going to do if I do compete in MMA or jiu-jitsu, I'm going to spend like 3 or 4 months just getting my body into, it's called general preparedness, just like a good fitness level. And then spend like 8 weeks leading up to using a camp to actually get ready for that match. So most people make the mistake. They only prepare the 8 weeks leading up to a tournament or a fight. They don't prepare before that. But you think about how much of a commitment that is. That's like a 4 to 5 month commitment just to get ready for one fight or one tournament. And it's just a lot. But if I'm going to compete, I'm going to make sure that I win, so I have to do those things. I'm not just going to do 8 weeks and just hope I win, if you want something enough in life, you want to win in whatever it is, you got to do absolutely everything you can to get there. It's like, like leave no stone unturned, which is what I've done with the YouTube channel too. It's like doing absolutely everything I can to grow it. And, same thing with, tournaments or whatever. It's like, I'm leaving nothing to chance. I want to beat someone so bad that they question why they ever thought they could beat me in the first place. Like, that's always my goal, because that should be the goal, right? And but it's hard. It's hard for sure.
Yeah, one thing also I forgot to mention too is our instructor kind of mentioned it, like, I'm never going to be a world champ. I barely get to train 2 times a week as it is. And that, that sucks also, because I feel like you mentioned, if I were to compete, I would have to dedicate a lot more time into training. And with, 3 kids, 2 of them that are toddlers, wife, full-time job and stuff like that, it's hard to be able to consistently put in the amount of work required to compete and do it at a level that I would be okay with. And not only that, but I have a 401k to worry about. I really don't want someone reaping my knee and blowing it out, and then I'm out of work, or I have to go to the doctor or something like that. And that's another big factor that really makes me nervous, is because our buddy Derek, his last competition, within the first 30 seconds the guy like blew his knee out. The guy he was going against blew his knee out, and I was like like these are 2 seasoned blue belts, and I'm like, I don't really want anything to do with that. Once again, it could be a cop out. John will put me in my place though one day, but
I don't know. I just think it's interesting for someone to at least try it once, right? I feel like that's where you'll be like, damn, I really do know this. Yeah. Like, you've been doing it so long, you'll see that, going up against somebody that's giving it their all, you're gonna realize your reflexes are quick and it's ingrained, and you're never gonna get that at the gym.
Yeah, I agree. I think you should, just because it's a life experience, to do it at least once. But I definitely agree with you, where it's like maybe some like reasons you might tell yourself, you might feel at times that they're like excuses and just kind of like a cop out. But I got the same problem too. But you just got to do what you want, and and just know what you want. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But definitely, it's a cool life experience. There's nothing quite like it, other than like I said, fighting MMA. It's just like the next level of like nerves and just experience for sure. Because like in jiu-jitsu too, it's just like it becomes so like you become so focused, so one-on-one with another person. It's like you don't get that same experience anywhere else. So I think it's a really cool experience.
I'm gonna give you a little bit of credit though, there, Jordan, because you mentioned that you have micro goals, but you have a hard time, or you have macro goals, but you have a hard time focusing on micro goals. I completely disagree with you because your whole view on competing is a macro micro in a sense. You know what I mean? Because you have the macro goal of wanting to do good in competition, but you're setting these micro goals and putting things in place months ahead before in order to make sure that you achieve that goal. I think you do it. I just don't think that you focus. You don't see it as that. But to me, from the outside looking in, I think that's fully 100% the micro macro view of a goal. Like for those months leading up to that competition, what are you doing to, like, give people at home like what your game plan is for those preparation months?
Yeah, so like I mean, I think I know what the procedure is to have success, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's like my goal either. But yeah, I know what you mean. And what I would be doing, for me, this is like leave zero stones unturned, like make sure you win, is like cleaning up my diet, getting on the perfect the perfect diet plan to make sure that I can get to a healthy weight and sustain the amount of training. And then for me, I'm pretty like naturally just strong, but my cardio is naturally pretty poor. So like
sounds like me.
Yeah, right. And so there's different body types, and some people have the opposite problem where their cardio is fine, but they don't have great strength, and some people don't have either one, and that sucks. They got to work on that for sure. So but yeah, I mean, but it's the same thing. It's like you got to be self-critical and see these deficiencies and improve them, right? So, I'd be working my diet to get it better. I would start, I think twice a week of lifting is good. And then what I'm going to do for cardio is mostly like Airdyne bike. It's just like Tabatas on the Airdyne bike, or like Kieran has a really good video, which I'm basically just going to follow that. Basically, just like do Tabatas for like 4 minutes on, 4 minutes off, like high heart rate. Like I enjoy slow and steady running. I do that too, to prepare for tournaments and stuff like that, because it's good for like basically improving your aerobic base, which everyone needs. Like, so your conditioning is like a pyramid. It's like this, and then the base of the pyramid is your aerobic base. So which is like how much energy your heart can basically create for you through breathing. So which is very important. So, a good thing to do is to work on your aerobic base for a couple months, slow and steady runs, and then start working on your, VO2 max, which is pretty similar in that sense, but start working with like higher intensity. And, that's what I would do. And I would hire probably, for me, a personal trainer, just because I know a lot already, and I'm confident in my knowledge when it comes to that. But it's like, it's easier to follow a plan when someone's holding you accountable, and you can really trust what they're doing and not ever have to question yourself. It's like if you question yourself wondering, okay, do I need to do this extra workout in this week, or maybe I don't want to, I won't do it, right? But if it's like someone tells you, no, this is important, you got to do all this, you're going to do it, right? So that's what I'd be doing in terms of like physicality and to get my body ready. And then mentally, I don't know what I'd be doing in that sense, because I've never really done anything to improve my mental aspect of it. But I think that would be a good thing to talk to like a sports psychologist, because my mind's already messed up. Like I just like a weird way of thinking, a little bit of a weird guy just in general, right? So I think that I have a very hard time when it comes to the mental aspect of competing and all that stuff. So I'm not the person to give advice on that, because I'm a bit of a head case just in general.
Well, I think everything that you mentioned when it comes to prepping it, one of the biggest takeaways I see in it is a support system in accomplishing these goals. Like it's if you're setting a goal, right, and you know that you want to win a competition or whatever, you should probably have, someone outside of yourself holding you accountable for it, right? Like you mentioned, a strength and conditioning coach, maybe a sports psychologist, right? Someone that's helping guide you to that end goal of winning. Because I feel like even as a father, I'm sure we all can agree, right? The support from our wives makes everything so much easier when it comes to achieving something, whether it's in our extracurricular activities, whether it's work or shit, just doing the dishes around the house or recording a podcast. And, the support system around that is great. And I think people should really look at that when it comes to achieving their take a shot every time we say the word goal in this podcast. But with achieving what you want, right, you should have that support system. It's kind of like what Billy talked about in one of our episodes, and we mentioned it too, telling someone, because now they're going to hold you accountable for that, right? Like, how important is that to you, John? Do you do that?
That's great. Yeah, it's like when I was being a sack of shit a couple weeks ago and I didn't want to go to class, right? Like, I wasn't going. I was totally not motivated. And Travis is like, I'll drive you. You're being lazy. Go to class. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
Like, but I wouldn't have went, right? It's just having somebody else that's going to be like, hey, you're being a piece of shit. You need to go to class.
Yeah.
This is why you're getting fat and you're unmotivated because you're not going to class. Let's go.
I think that is important. I think a really clear example is like the fact that I've had Nikki, my wife, since she's been my partner since I was literally 12 years old. She was 13. So, I've gone through my whole life not having to worry about, getting a girlfriend or getting laid or anything like that. It's like, I have like Nikki. So like, I've always had a partner to, rely upon and be able to help me and, just go through life together as a life partner. So that's actually helped me like so much and helped me be able to achieve my goals, because so much now it's like Nikki really understands, and we kind of have this agreement where she does a lot of the stuff like kind of around the house, because she's a kind of a stay-at-home mom in that sense of like she doesn't have a job she goes to, but she does manage the gym. But she kind of just lets me do my thing and not have to worry about this and that, because because we kind of both understand I need to focus my energy to make us both money. So, I think that, having a partner, like a wife or, or a boyfriend, if you're, gay or whatever, or if you're a girl, you have a husband or whatever, I think that really is so beneficial. But if you don't have that, then definitely a friend helps so much to have someone to rely upon. I know I talk to Travis all the time. I complain to you, about like, oh, my feelings are hurt, or, this person said this or whatever. So, that definitely helps me. So like, I think, support system is so crucial. And if someone doesn't have, a friend to rely upon, then, I recommend they make friends, and which is like, usually through the gym. You just gotta, get to know people more and, make some friends and make life easier for yourself. You rely, on each other more, because I'm sure, it's easier for you guys to do the podcast, having each other to be like, okay, we got to get the next episode out or whatever. If it was just one of you, it would be so much easier to be like, nah, I don't really feel like it, which helps me too, having Joey and Mike for my podcast, because, I told them like, we're going to be, the #1 podcast for jiu-jitsu, and we're going to like, make money through sponsorships and stuff like that. And then if I just kind of get half-ass it and can't get these things done that I kind of promised them, then I feel like a loser, right? So I need to do these things for them too. So it kind of motivates me to, succeed and do well. And because I have other people relying on me, same thing, the same thing with like Nikki and my family. It's like, again, this is the only thing I do for money. I teach jiu-jitsu. That's it. So, teaching jiu-jitsu in person at the gym, but teaching jiu-jitsu online. So, it's really important that, I keep doing that and that I do a good job of it for sure.
Do you feel that should people, if they have like these, what, mainstream society would say is like radical goals of like being a full-time YouTuber or, making a living or achieving something that is kind of outside of cultural norms in a sense, do you feel like they should go all in on it, or should they kind of like dip their toes in it, or how do you approach that? Because the reason I think of this is because Travis Barker talks about the reason when he was younger he got his throat tattooed is because, or his hands, it was either his throat or his hands. The reason he got it tattooed is because it was his going all in on music. He's like, well, now I'm heavily tattooed, so now I can't really get a day job, so I have to succeed at music. Do you feel people should, how do you feel people should look at goals like that?
I think it depends. And did we talk on the last podcast about like the burning the ships kind of thing, or no?
No, probably I don't think so.
So this is what I did with the YouTube channel, and kind of my mentality just in general is like burn the ships. So in I don't know, back in the day, 1500s, 1600s, I don't know exactly, but settlers from, I think, Spain came to North America, and they worried about that. They're like, the captain worried that people want to go home, right? So and not fight the indigenous, which bad. Don't, they shouldn't have done that. But like, but they worried that their people want to go home and kind of abandon the mission, right? So what they did was they burned the ships. So now it's like you have no choice. Either you fight the Aboriginals or they're going to kill you or whatever it is. I don't know the exact history, so but it's like motivation to succeed because you have no other options. So I did the same thing with the YouTube channel, not nearly as extreme, but like in the sense that I spent like $10,000 on equipment, and I was like, okay, I'm going to make sure that I succeed and reach my goals. Otherwise, I just spent $10,000 on all this crap that I'm not going to use, and it's going to be kind of embarrassing. And I'd much rather have the story to tell that I actually achieved it. That I put this $10,000 out and I achieved my goals. So I think that's a really fun story I can tell now because I did that. Whereas if I would have failed my goals, I wouldn't be able to do that. So, but I think it depends too, because you have people like lower belts that aren't going to be world champions. Just the fact that you're not going to be world champions, but they still might, give up on things in life that maybe they shouldn't have because they want to pursue jiu-jitsu so much, and it can be a negative on them. So I see people on Reddit or whatever. It's like they're trying to do compete jiu-jitsu full time, and it's like I had the same mentality. I was a blue belt. It was like I'll be the exception. I can compete and do this and that, and I'll be fine. I can devote all my time to that. But it's like, no, most people aren't going to do that, and most people, you're just going to screw yourself. And we could have, done so many better things for you in your life if you directed your energy elsewhere. So, yeah, I would never, recommend someone go all in unless they have that like type A personality, where it's like you're going to make it happen, which I think it's really benefited me in a lot of sense that I do have like a type A personality. It's where I want to be like, win, and do everything I can to succeed. So yeah, but you don't want to do that unless you can do it. But like anyone can do a lot of things in life. Like there's so many skills you can obtain that anyone can. But like I think jiu-jitsu is a harder one because the physicality matters, where it's like drumming, like Travis Barker, it helps to be athletic, I think, for sure, because you can hit it harder and be a little faster. But like non-athletes can definitely get good at drums, where it's like definitely harder in jiu-jitsu. And then depending on what you're trying to do, so many different things factor in. So I think people should adopt that mentality, but only if it's like a smart and calculated decision, and they're gonna make sure that they reach their goals. Otherwise, yeah, you got to be very careful doing that kind of stuff.
When it comes to your students, you might hurt some feelings on this one, but when your students come to you with their goals, seeking advice or a kind of like a support system in you, how do you approach it? Do you if they say, hey, I want to be a world champion, you're like, I don't think that's ever going to happen. How do you break it to them, or do you just be there as a support system for them and hope for the best?
Yeah, so like my gym is mostly like I love my gym, but it's mostly like recreational people that don't really have those kind of aspirations. Like we have some people that are into competing and stuff like that, but like overall, we're mostly like a little more recreational, which I like. I like it that way, but I don't really run into that a lot. We do have one kid. He's 14 now, and he could definitely be a world champion. So, I told him like, you have the potential to be a world champion. It's like whether or not you become one, that is on you. So like you putting in the time and doing everything you can to obtain that, that's going to be on you, but you have the potential. So like, you don't want to waste that, but like maybe he does. I don't know. Like he loves jiu-jitsu, so he probably doesn't want to waste his potential, but some people have the potential, but doesn't necessarily mean that's what they want to do. So for myself, for example, too, like I think I do have the potential to be a world champion and, get to the UFC if I want to, pursue fighting again, but that's not what I want to do. So I don't mind really wasting the potential so much, but that was my advice to him. It's like, don't waste your potential. You're so young. You keep getting better.
John, you got anything else, man?
Yeah, I would say don't get goals and New Year's resolutions confused at this time of year. I feel like a lot of people are going to come in, the new year, and they're going to set these new resolutions, or I don't know about you guys. Anytime I do that, I've never once followed through on a resolution. Agreed. I feel like a goal is something you can write down and you can really quantify it and you can really see if you're going to meet those goals. But I would say pick some small goals to start, something that you can definitely achieve to build up that confidence.
Yeah, you know, one thing too, like we talked about writing it down. I think that can be good for some people, but I think the thing is too, it's like if you want something enough, you know you want it, and it's like you don't need to write it down. So I think that's important too. It's like you got to ask yourself how bad you really want the goals you want, and if you really want them, you don't even need to ask yourself that. So like, yeah, you know, like I it's clear what I want in the sense of my macro goal is just to be successful, but so like I don't need to write that part down. So yeah, you know, I think people should try to, I guess, you know, I don't know, be passionate about the things they want to be passionate about. And really, if they're going to do it, do it. But if they're not going to, then kind of just chill and relax about the whole thing and don't put too many expectations. And yeah, make it harder for yourself, because jiu-jitsu should be fun. I said that in one of my videos too. It's like jiu-jitsu should be fun. Like stop like worrying and making all these issues.
Right.
But again, I'm older and wiser now. I understand that, but so I can see where people are coming from. But yeah, I wish they would kind of listen to their elders, of like the black belts that have been through it all.
Yeah, it's kind of like as kids, we didn't want to listen to our parents, and when we got older, like, damn it, they were right.
Right.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, no one on Reddit will listen to you though. That they're all smart.
Don't get me started on Reddit. Don't get me started. I could rant forever. They're an interesting type for sure.
We'll have to do a whole nother episode on just like the ups and downs of Reddit. Like,
yeah, we could do a whole episode on the ups and downs of my mood, even just like all the stuff I talk to you about.
Yeah, right. So, hey, Jordan, I just want to say thank you so much, man, for coming on the show again today. This was a great conversation. I think people are going to find a ton of value in what you have to say, even if it doesn't perfectly match the way that they achieve what they want. I think it's a good. I think we cover a lot of things in this conversation that most people don't think about. You know, I think we hear a lot of these like motivational speakers spit the same stuff over and over again. And I think you covered a great topic of a different way to look at it, man. So thank you so much for coming on the show. If people want to follow you and stuff like that, you want to throw your socials and whatnot out there, what projects you have coming up?
Yeah, you know, they can just search Jordan Teach Jiu-Jitsu, whatever. That's basically it. And yeah, thank you guys for having me. And yeah, that's it. I was gonna make a joke.
Go ahead.
I was gonna make a joke of just about, you know, I still think it's funny about the last time about being a half hour into, you're not sure about me or whatever. Yeah, because the thing is, I always wonder how I come across to people, because I think I can have somewhat of extreme things I say, I guess. So I'm always wondering, okay, no, it's fine. It's like people aren't thinking I'm weird or whatever. I was like, no shit, they did think I'm weird. But it's all right. It happens.
Hey, but like you said, it was your second podcast. You know, it's like I think also when you first get to know people, you don't know them. I mean, we talked before your first interview. We talked on the internet for like, I don't know, a week or so before you came on the show, right? Like, so it's hard to gauge who a person is or through their personality, but when you talk to them for such a short time. But I mean, I wouldn't have had it any other way, man. I think it made great content, like got a good friendship out of it, and you know, here we are again. So don't take it like it wasn't a bad thing, I promise.
Oh no, yeah, I don't want you guys to think that I actually like am mad or anything about it. It's like more like tongue in cheek, just kind of like poking fun at it, because I do think it's interesting. Not to keep dragging the podcast on, but like I do think it's interesting that people will form opinions on you so easily and so quickly, and without getting to know you completely, which I think is like an interesting thing for us, because you guys did get to know me more during the podcast, which is okay. Maybe my first impression wasn't right, and you know, which actually makes me feel a little bit better when sometimes people post like something dumb on YouTube. It's like, okay, you just haven't gotten to know me yet. You don't know how, you don't really have the full context, full picture. And so it's fine. So yeah, thank you guys for kind of exposing that part of it. So yeah, I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem at all, man. And for people at home that think Jordan's just in this for the money, I talk to him pretty much daily. He is 100% about the money. No, he is a very genuine person, and every day that we talk, he's always talking about how he just wants to be a better person, improve everything to help people out. And it's what you see in his YouTube channel is not fake. What you hear him talk about is not fake, because even when we're not recording it, Jordan is the same person. He's a fantastic person. So just throwing that out there. If people want to hate on the internet, especially Reddit, Jordan ain't fake. So, but
appreciate that. Yeah, and just one thing. Yeah, just because you mentioned it. Of course, yeah, not about the money, but like I do it all because I enjoy. I don't make enough. I don't make as much money as I should, so that's a little bit frustrating thing for how well the YouTube channel is doing. I think I should make more money, but you know, it's all right. It's the way she goes. But you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with you know, trying to make money when that's like literally your job, right? My job is to teach jiu-jitsu. So yeah, I'm trying to make money, but I'm not doing as good of a job at it as I should. So I got to keep working on that. So yeah, it's all right.
Same here, Jordan.
You got
same
3
here.
years. 3 years.
So,
exactly.
hey,
3 more years.
Thank you everyone for listening and watching at home. John, you got anything else?
No, thank you.
All right, guys. Remember, no oil checks here.
Us.
All right, guys. Peace.
Peace.